"What is amiss?" she asked, taking the silken headrail that Wymark was holding out to her. "Is it something to do with Edmund? I saw his bannerman as I came into the yard." "I pray it is not true," Wymark whispered, "but there is a rumour that one of the Athelings has died in London." She clutched Emma's hand. "Emma, I do not know who it is." The headrail slipped, forgotten from Emma's fingers. She stared at Wymark and had to will herself to breathe. Edmund had been with Athelstan and Egbert in London. Was it possible that one of them was dead? "Holy Mary," she prayed, "let it not be Athelstan." She had been on God's earth for 19 summers, had been wife and queen for 4 of them, and had borne a babe who was heir to England's crown. In all that time she had loved but one man, and, God forgive her, that man was not her royal husband, but his eldest son. Clasping her hands together to stop their trembling, she pressed them against her mouth and shut her eyes. "God, have mercy," she whispered, then looked to Wymark. "I must go to the king." Her thoughts flew back to that moment on the hill above the manor and the foreboding that had shaken her. Had she sensed some trouble in the air then, a portent of loss greater than she could bear to imagine? "Sweet Virgin," she prayed again, "let it not be Athelstan." She took long, slow breaths and walked with a measured step to disguise the fear that clutched at her heart, to try not to think of how wretched the world would be if Athelstan were not in it. Nodding to the guards at the entrance to the great hall, she slipped inside. Torches flamed in their sockets along the walls, and a fire roared in the central pit, but the vast chamber, which should have been busy with preparations for the evening meal, was all but empty. Æthelred sat on the dais in his great chair, with Edmund kneeling before him. The king was bent forward, his silver-streaked tawny hair contrasting with his son's darker, dishevelled locks. The king's steward, Hubert, stood to one side, dictating something to a scribe. A gaggle of servants hovered nearby, looking frightened. Filled with dread, Emma walked silently and swiftly to the dais, and sank into the chair placed beside the king's. Æthelred did not even mark her entrance, so absorbed was he in what Edmund was saying. Edmund's face, she saw with despair, was wet with tears, and she forced herself to listen to him in silence, swallowing the urgent query that was on her lips.